So welcome. We are less than half of Minus World. So we actually just got back from E3, where we all met up, which is pretty cool. It was our first time. We met our Australian buddies, Ho Bros and SMG4. But they're actually on tour right now, which is pretty neat. So yeah, we'll just go through, do quick introductions, then we'll kind of just open the panel up. So I guess I'll start. My name's Brad. I run the channel SwinkyBox and SwinkyBox Live. So I primarily do like gaming analysis and nostalgia-focused videos. And then on my second channel, I do like meta games and gaming discoveries. So that's kind of what I do on mine.
I'm Nathaniel Bandy. I never really know how to describe my channel. I do a lot of different things. I'm kind of like a variety Mario Kart, Smash Bros. YouTuber. I've tried pretty much everything, and I'm constantly doing new types of shows.
I'm Nintendo, and I focus on current and retro game collecting with kind of a recurring theme of DIY how-to projects, retrospective lists, and just kind of general Nintendo stuff.
Hi guys, I'm Noam Luna. You guys probably know me as Char5. When I'm not ripping off way more popular channels than me, I'm doing art and or voice acting, animation, and mostly stuff for these guys because I love them and they do way better stuff than me.
So yeah, this is just going to be a general Q&A panel. Really, you can ask us anything you want. We will try to answer it to the best of our abilities. Whether it be about...
Try being a keyword here.
YouTube, whether it be about quality memes, anything you want to ask.
He is a meme master, by the way.
Yeah.
You are.
So yeah, I guess we'll open up to questions right here.
I want to direct this one to Mr. Band himself, and it's just 3 words.
Oh god.
Pink, gold, peach! That's not a question.
That's not a question. You can be excused.
That's more of
You
a-
can be excused. It's nice to meet you.
Security.
If you may escort this fine gentleman outside the conference room, please.
That's more of like a declarative statement.
You should ask for a trigger warning.
Well, I do love your content.
Thank you.
All right,
Don't be shy.
closed.
This is the panel.
We'll see you later.
Bye, everybody.
Whose idea was it to start the minus one grade?
I would say it's interesting.
It's kind of complicated.
Yeah, that is a
I would say it was a collaborative between Kevin from Hobo Bros combined with...
I guess. I'll try to explain it. So I got a message from Kevin from Hobo Bros SMG4, and he messaged me about Mario 64 online. That was like when it first came out. He's like, hey, do you know any other content creators that'd be really good for that? So I knew most of these guys, and we got together like, I don't know, 9, 10 people, and over time we just kind of like started to really become good friends, and Minus World just kind of naturally formed from there. So, yeah.
And for a while, I wanted to like start something like this.
Yeah,
and
we've been wanting to do something like this for
Yeah.
a while. So
I've actually tried it in the past, but the problem is like with like forming like YouTube teams or whatever you want to call them, like everyone has to be 100% on board. If you have like one person who's like, then it kind of falls through. So you really want to make sure the people you're syncing up with are just, you know, as gung-ho about it as you are.
Will you be doing another 10 versus 1 speed run again?
Are you guys not sick of that yet?
No.
yeah, we'll be doing lots more.
Yeah, we'll do.
Oh.
I mean, how many did we record while we were...
We recorded a lot of E3.
Yeah,
those
I
are on the way.
watched all of them.
Oh, nice, thank you.
So there's another one coming where what did we do? What was it?
We were Minus World, probably.
There's the zombies one.
Oh, there was a 10 versus 1, but we're all in person.
Oh, yeah.
For my channel, I did a bunch of them. We did one Super Mario 64 Zombies, which is like, if you guys remember Halo 2 Zombies or Infection from Halo 3, or whatever it was called. Basically, a person starts as a Toad or Luigi, and everyone else is Waluigi. And as the Waluigis die, they turn to Toads or Luigis until there's one person left.
Which you would think would be the other way around, but
But when you're playing with people like Simple Flips and other people who are amazing in Super Mario 64, Waluigi can last a really long time.
yeah.
But we did a lot. We did that. We did a race around Big Blue's haunt. So like not so much full length 10 vs 1 things, but like multiplayer Super Mario 64 challenges. Yeah, they're pretty fun. We did a
Yeah.
couple though.
When will the next NBA original be coming out?
Oh.
All right, so I've been working on that since probably like late April, and I probably would have gotten it out in May, but I actually have everyone from Minus World involved. That's why it's taking so long. So we did some filming while we were at E3, and we're actually filming the last scene tomorrow, and I'll finally be editing it, putting it together, and it should be up in July, finally.
Yay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What is the best video you think? What's the best video you think you have ever made and why?
Best video for
For each of us? Or
Yeah.
collectively?
All.
I guess I'll start. So I made a video called Super Mario 74, and for anyone that doesn't know, it's a Mario 64 ROM hack. So basically, it's Mario 64, but all the levels are different. And I reviewed it in the style of a sitcom, and I really liked making it. I think it turned out really well. That's my favorite video ever made.
So I actually have a question for you. Is this like sarcastic favorite video or actual
Why are you
favorite video? Because I have two different answers for that.
No, any video.
Okay, so sarcastic favorite video would be my theory on Cinnamon Toast Crunch and why adults can't see what kids can see. I did that for an April Fool's video a couple years ago. Not sarcastic, I would say. There's an indie game called Night in the Woods, and I made I just really liked that game a lot, and I made my first theory video on it. I had a lot of fun with just animating and piecing it together.
I guess I also have two sarcastic answers, but I can't think of the serious one. No, because my sarcastic answer would be the everything wrong with Mario Odyssey trailer, because I wrote that at like 3 in the morning, because the trailer just come out, and I'm like, man, I don't know, fine, I'll do a video on it. And I was so tired, but being tired made some of the best jokes. Like the Michael Phelps machine, I'm really proud of that one. Seriously though, it's probably one of my animation things. I couldn't tell you which. I'm probably most proud of a movie I made like in 2013, even though it's crap, don't watch it. But I'm proud of it because I always wanted to make a movie with my friends, and I did, and I'm like, okay, that's a thing. Now it exists, and I don't ever want to see it again.
Well, I'm not sure if I would call this my favorite video that I've put out, but I think the one that I'm most proud of at this point was a video on the complete Virtual Boy collection, the complete US Virtual Boy set, which is 14 titles. For those who don't know, it's one of the smallest console collections of any system, and it may be the smallest, I'm not sure. But basically for that video, I had to record footage of every title in the set, write my own opinions about it, and put it together into this big compilation where I reviewed every Virtual Boy game with like an unbiased view. So that was especially made more difficult because the Virtual Boy doesn't have an output to the TV, so I can't capture that with a typical capture card. So I had to run through, and of course it's an obscure system, so the emulation scene isn't quite as up to par as it is with other consoles. So that was a big set of research and work to try to put that whole thing together. So
You mean people don't like seeing red and black all the time?
apparently not. I love the Virtual Boy. I think that's a neat little obscure system.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, obligatory question. Where's Smokeable Bubble, aka Daddy?
He's stuck in California.
Yeah, Simple Flips is in California.
Yeah.
Probably sleeping right now, would be my guess.
Probably in gay baby jail again
Yeah.
for the 70th time.
Today.
Today, yeah.
How does it feel playing through like Mario Odyssey at E3 and then playing full version of now? Like, how does it feel?
That's a good
Like,
Okay. Trying to think. Well, I guess at E3 it was really a rush because there's a huge line of people behind you, and I only had 10 minutes to play it. I mean, the game felt pretty much the same, but I don't remember what my experience was while I was there because it was only 10 minutes. That's just not enough time to really experience it. So, I guess obviously like the full game, it's more satisfying. Yeah.
I was going to say the only context I have is that, because this was my first E3 this year, but we went and
Right.
played Smash Brothers for a similar amount of time. And the
Yeah,
only thing I
get
can
enough-
remember
get
is
enough
that
of
we
it.
played on Moray Towers, so I remember that stage, but that, like everything else is just kind of a rush because you're...
I remember
in and out
playing
real
the
quick.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to actually having the full thing and exploring it.
For sure. Yes.
How do y'all organize just like getting everybody together for videos like this 10 versus 1?
We don't.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
We together we have a Discord channel or a Discord server that we host for Minus World, and it's usually the Hobo Bros guys that kind of get us on track.
Yeah, Kevin's like the big leader of the group.
Yeah.
We have just an important channel in our server, and he always posts a few days before saying, "Hey, if we can do 10v1, let me know."
Whoever's not available, we can usually try to find like some people to fill the spots.
Yeah,
So.
it also makes sense for him to orchestrate just because he's from Australia. So like,
They're
And
gonna
it's
be
on
the-
his channel.
like most of us can accommodate, but like for him, it's like such a drastic
Yeah.
time change. So like when we're playing at 9 at night, it's 9 in the morning for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There was also one time where he had told us a time, like, oh, let's start at 8, but like daylight savings had happened. So we're just like,
Oh,
where
yeah.
are they? It's 8. And they were like, wait, what? Why is it 9 for you guys? Because we have daylight savings. Oh, we don't have that in Australia.
But we typically keep Fridays open. Like if anyone wants to do a collaboration, you pitch the idea in the channel, and then everyone gets on Friday night, and then we just knock
Yeah.
them all out in a row.
Yeah.
Another question for Mr. Bandy. I'm on a Discord server and I asked them, what should I say to Nathaniel Bandy at TooManyGames? I'm going to pick the one that's probably the most important.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Jad0875 says, tell him to unban Jad.
I'm sorry, I don't know who that is.
No.
I don't, well, the thing is, I don't usually get on my own Discord. Like, I'll hop on if there's something going on, and sometimes I'll say hi, but I'm sorry, Chad.
I'll tell him.
Right in the back.
This question's for any or all of you.
Okay.
Since we're all at TooManyGames this weekend and everyone's usually on the hunt for something, I was wondering, is there any one game or accessory or something that you're on the hunt for that you're hoping to find this week?
He already found it. So, okay. This is the funniest thing. We just met like not too long ago. Like we've talked obviously because of the 10 versus 1 stuff, but we didn't meet formally until like a month ago. And you know, we grew really close. So he was explaining to us what his rarest collection, like game collection was, and he told us about these. I don't know if you guys remember the Game Boy Advance video cartridges that were just like videos.
I have 3. Yeah.
Proud Family, like episodes of the Proud Family are like among the top 5 rarest games.
For Game Boy Advance.
For Game Boy Advance. And we went to like flea markets, and this one guy teased us like, "Oh, I might have the Proud Family." We were like excited, and then he didn't have it, so we were like, "Oh man, that's a letdown." Okay, so it became this saga. He found it yesterday for $5. That game is worth $130.
Nice. Wow.
So he found his holy grail already. Yeah, that's clapworthy. He did it.
Yeah, I've got like 12, I think it's 12 titles left in that Game Boy Advance video set that I'm trying to complete. So, I mean, if I'm diligent enough, I might be able to finish it today and tomorrow on the show floor. But
Which ones do you need? I have 3 of them.
I'll have to check my list. You can give it me afterwards.
I don't know. What about you guys? What are you looking for?
I don't know. I haven't even thought about it yet.
Well, I feel like you're the least collector-minded.
Yeah,
out of us.
Probably, yeah. But I mean, I'll still. My thing is, I don't look around until Sunday, and I usually don't think about it. So I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I'm not really sure myself, but generally I collect N64 games. I have 180, 190 something. So I have like a Google Doc list. So I'll probably just be looking for really cheap ones just to pick up.
He doesn't have Glover, so anyone who has Glover.
I
can
have
do it.
Glover. I don't need another copy of Glover.
Everyone needs another copy of Glover.
No, that's not.
There's no one thing I'm looking for. Like I also made a list, but I found I guess half of it yesterday. There's no one thing, but yeah, but mostly because everything is really nice, and I don't have a lot of money.
Oh yeah, today I want to look for a copy of Somari.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to find that.
So let us know if you see Somari on NES, because I swore I saw it yesterday, so I know it's here. I just don't know where.
If you have to say one nice thing about your least favorite game.
Oh my god.
Oh, I got it. Okay. I hesitate to call this my least favorite game because I know that I have played worse games, but the game that disappointed me the most, my go-to answer is always Paper Mario Sticker Star. And the nice thing I can say about that game is it has an excellent soundtrack. It's like they tried to save the game with the soundtrack. They put so much work into that, but they couldn't polish that turd enough.
I guess my least favorite game is probably Superman 64. I've played lots of it. Played it for a charity stream, so I know a lot about it. I guess the only thing I could say that I don't know is that everyone agrees with me that it's bad.
I was going to say your favorite thing could be that you're good at it.
Yeah, I'm good at. Well,
You are amazing at the rings.
I'm good at the rings. I can fly. I'm a master Superman flyer.
What about you, Brett?
You go next. I can't. I'm trying to think.
I don't even know what my least favorite game is. Like, I've never played Sticker Star. You said it sucked.
I don't like.
Sonic 06.
I think like I don't ever inject myself to like bad games, and that's
Yeah.
a weird. I just got kind of lucky. I would say the one game I did not finish, and this probably can disappoint a lot of people, was Kingdom Hearts 2.
What?
Oh, man. Minus World Beefy live.
The Rock,
Minus World disbands for a second time just today.
the intro with Roxas put me to sleep.
Okay, fair.
That was so discouraging that I just didn't try the rest of the game. However, I did kind of sort of watch later on vicariously through my younger brother, but that was so off-putting to me.
Give it time, you will love it. I'm sure you will.
I was like 5 hours deep, and I was still not into the actual game yet.
You were okay.
I took my time. I mean, I
That's true. Okay, that's fair. God, it's hard to say what my least favorite game
You
is.
did not enjoy Baldi's Basics.
Okay,
He was so
That game-
angry. Oh my god.
okay. I wouldn't call it my least favorite game, but one thing I will say about that game, because it's awful and playtime is disgusting, it is addictive, and I think that is a good thing in a video game. Like when it can keep you playing despite how much you're upset at it. I think one of my least favorite games is probably Sonic and the Secret Rings, and I have to agree with Drew in the sense that I can't knock the soundtrack. I really like the soundtrack, and the visual style I like too. That's about it.
Okay, a serious question for Andy.
Okay.
Do you ever get sick of being called these many different entities? Like,
Can you give us some examples?
The full example, please.
I don't know. I forgot what it was.
Scuttlebug is a good.
Yeah, Scuttlebug is
Smash Ball.
Smash Ball Bandy.
Sometimes, every time, once in a while.
Something.
Coin Boy.
Coin Boy. Oh, he is our
Yes.
Coin Boy. Hashtag Coin Boy.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I guess it was kind of annoying, but now, I mean, I'm just embracing it. I don't care anymore. Yeah, because it's like if you let stuff like that bother you, like if you let it get annoying, then, I mean...
It's only
I
fuel for the
can't-
fire.
Right, yeah, exactly. So I just don't let it get to me. I mean, it's not like anyone's like being mean to me or anything. It's just like when you see the same thing all the time, your brain just gets numb to it, I guess.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Like Simple Flips doesn't even hear 1 2 oatmeal. Yeah, just like as his background
His
noise.
ears have tuned it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we all try to forget.
I don't. I love that meme.
What are some of your most unpopular opinions?
Ooh.
Do you want the book?
Yes!
At least the first chapter.
Okay. I didn't actually have an answer yet. I'm just waiting. I'm trying to
I'm
think.
thinking of one that's gonna upset Vandy.
Oh.
Minus World Beef number 2.
No, I don't know if it's the thing is I
You
don't know.
guys
If
scared
it's, I don't know if it's my opinion's unpopular or his opinion's unpopular. So
Ooh.
I'm gonna say he hates Glover, but I love Glover.
Oh yeah. Okay. We need to have a podcast about this. Not right now, but
So whether that's the popular or unpopular opinion, I think it's a good game. I had a lot of fun with it.
man.
I feel like my new go-to unpopular opinion is I really enjoy Super Mario Odyssey as a game, but it is certainly not my favorite Mario game, and I have a lot of issues with it. And I think I would like to eventually get to a place where I feel like I can expound upon that with my YouTube channel, that I can have like a 30-minute discussion, like analysis about my issues with Odyssey, because I feel like I speedrun Odyssey because I feel like that put that in a perfect spot for me, in that I enjoyed the game, but I didn't worry about playing it to death because I didn't care if I hated it by the end of it. So that would be my unpopular opinion. I'll give more details at a future date.
What about you, Nathan?
All right, so I know a lot of people really like Mario Kart Wii, and I don't think it's a horrible game, but I've never thought it was like the best game ever, because pretty much most of my audience thinks it's the best Mario Kart game, but I've always thought like Mario Kart DS was a lot better than Mario Kart Wii. Like, I hate the thundercloud. I hate some of the tracks are okay. A lot of them are really bland in that game. The half pipes are like, most of the time they aren't even useful. It's like, ooh, look at this tempting, vibrating, flashing half pipe. Next thing you know, you're like, you went from first to fourth place. Oh, it's not even that good. Yeah, so Mario Kart Wii is just okay. I don't think it's the best Mario Kart.
My unpopular opinions have to do with characters that I don't like, but everyone else loves. Like Gino from Mario RPG. And there you go. Ridley being in Smash Brothers. No! Why?
This guy is really mad that Ridley is in Smash 5.
Okay,
I've never seen someone so upset
and
about
and I have
pleasing a fan.
I played Ridley. I played Ridley at Smash. He is overpowered. Okay, he's way too strong.
OP.
Yeah. His down B can take him 0 to 60%.
And he is no longer intimidating because he's so small. He is but a dragon. And we already have Charizard.
Purple Charizard.
It's Purple Charizard, and we have Project M for that, I think. One of the mods.
It was kind of.
Yeah. So I have a lot of unpopular opinions when it comes to like characters and how popular they are. I'm just like, I don't get it.
Red shirt.
What is the hardest boss battle you've ever faced?
Oh!
Well, I don't know if this counts, but I was playing Mario Tennis Aces yesterday, and pretty much it's not really a boss, but I was facing Magic Koopa, and it took me like probably 2.5 hours of grinding to beat. It was so stupid. Like, you have to have like ridiculously good reflexes to beat that boss, and you have to have good luck, 'cause there's a lot of things that can just throw off your game. I know it's not really a boss, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
I would say the Draconian Trials from Dragon Quest VIII. They're like, so like after you finish the main game, you can go on to do like bonus dungeons and stuff, and at the end of one of them you have to fight 7 dragons in a row, and each one has like different characteristics. And like, if you guys ever played Dragon Quest, there's like elements of like things being metal. And there's like one dragon in particular that's made of metal, so you're only dealing 1 damage unless you constantly are amping up your fighters to hit critical hits. And it's a very ruthless grind trying to get through these 7 dragons. You have to fight them in a row, and it's pretty much like you have to have your characters maxed out if you want to have any chance of surviving. And then I would say a tie with that is, anyone play Star Ocean: The Second Story?
I've heard of it.
The end boss, and that's an RPG for PS1. You can fight the end boss, and you can take off what's called his limiter, and it makes it an insanely hard fight. And you pretty much have to have all your characters maxed out at like level 255 to even stand a chance.
Wow.
So.
Okay, so I don't know if I'd say that this is the hardest boss, but I know it's like the only boss I've never beaten legitimately. It's Riku 4 in Chain of Memories.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
I'm not crazy then. I had to use save states. Yeah.
I got to cheat them, just make a whole bunch of slides and zeros.
Yeah, it's insane how hard he is, and like the combat system is so difficult to master as it is, and then that boss just keeps hitting you every time, and it's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother. I'm playing on an emulator anyway. I'm gonna save state. That's the only way I did it. Lingering Will's probably harder, but I've never fought Lingering Will, so I wouldn't know.
What about you? I'm certain that I've probably fought harder boss fights, but I'm drawing a blank here. But I remember that recently we were playing through Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I thought you were gonna say something like that.
There was, I guess it wasn't even a boss fight that was the hardest part for us, but we were trying to get through the like the militarized zone thing, like the sequence, and we were playing an emulator, and we reloaded that save state probably a good 200 times to try to get through this like little maze. And then
I got it on my third try.
Yeah.
No, it was my third try.
Okay. Yeah, I was so mad. But the final boss in that too, we took a long time for that as well.
Yeah.
The Xenomorph.
Yeah, you were just like, oh, this thing, I can't grab it.
After the panel, will you guys be like outside, like taking pictures of me signing?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. You could probably do it like
I
4.
was gonna say you can feel free to come up here afterwards as well.
What inspired you?
Oh, all right.
So I was really heavily inspired by Screw Attack back in the day and the Angry Video Game Nerd. I know not really anyone watched me back in the day, but like all of my content from 2012, 2014, it was like basically a ripoff of AVGN. But I became my own person eventually. But yeah, those 2 people.
The people who inspired me were the YouTuber called Devin Supertramp. Originally, he got me inspired into YouTube back in 2012, and then from there it was Markiplier and MatPat. Really, just inspired me to pursue my creative passions and just give it my all one last time to see, try to make YouTube work.
I kind of straddle this line between Nintendo YouTubers and collecting, like game collector YouTubers. So my biggest inspiration, well, the number one that I have to go back to is Metal Jesus Rocks. He was my biggest inspiration to start on YouTube, but also just as in like kind of a personality and presentation, I take a lot of inspiration from Chadtronic. And
No way, you're not Chadtronic?
Confirmed.
Confirmed.
Well, have you ever seen us in the same room together?
That's true, I have not. It's lower.
I also have to throw out Ben Heck, because I do a lot of sort of DIY how-to projects, and he was always, like, I watched him as a kid, and it was like crazy to see him build these crazy contraptions, that sort of thing, so.
I'm probably the most obscure when it comes to this question because I don't follow a lot of huge channels, but back in the day when I started, I watched a lot of like Sonic sprite animations, and there was this one guy, his name is Sean Smith, but he went by Sean Spaz 16, and I don't know if anyone remembers him, probably not. But I don't know why I really loved his content. I wanted to do something similar, but with like my own characters, and that's what I did for a long time before I was like, you know what? People aren't really into original stuff because they don't have the exposure to it. So I'm gonna see if, like, I tried the CinemaSins thing, and then that went over huge. I'm like, okay, I guess that stuck. But yeah. These people are my inspiration a lot too because they keep me going. I'm just like, man, no, and I mean that because sometimes I'll just be like, I just want to have fun, and I see them work. I'm like, I should probably work. It's a good idea.
You had a red black shirt, glasses.
Deadpool. Deadpool.
What's your favorite video game character?
Ooh. That's hard. Oh no, it's not hard.
So I'm going to say, I like immediately anytime a question's asked, then Tendry just looks at me like,
give me my answer.
Mom?
Favorite video game character. There's a couple. I really liked, well, I know you don't like him. I like Gino from Super Mario RPG.
This guy.
When I was younger, I had a huge man crush on Diaz, Flack from Star Ocean, The Second Story.
Ooh. Let the fan art begin.
I'm trying to think of like modern characters.
I am in love with the weirdos from Nintendo games. So I have my top three. I can't choose one, but I will say Tingle from the Zelda series. Along the same lines, Beetle, the shop owner from the Zelda series, and Waluigi. My boy.
That's boy. Yeah, that's Waluigi's a definite.
Snake. I love Solid Snake. I was thinking about like who is my favorite character. I'm like, well, Snake is really wise. Like even in the first game, like even though he asks a lot of questions back to people, like Metal Gear, what? This? No. Like he always has something really profound to say. And there was a voice acting competition not too long ago. It was called Now Voice This or something like that. They're doing it every year now. They started last year. And my first entry, which actually got me to the next round, I didn't think it would. And David Hayter actually listened to it because he liked my post. It was something from the second game. Basically, I don't remember exactly what the quote is, but it's something along the lines of, we can't give up because we're the one, I think it's like we're the ones in control of our destiny, something like that. It is really profound, and as the series goes on, I like it more and more, just because he's such an interesting character, because he can be like the newbie character, but he can also be super wise, and that's, I think, why I like him so much.
No.
Security?
Let's not. Favorite character? I like a lot of different characters. I guess one that really stands out to me is Leon Kennedy from Resident Evil.
I was literally about to.
So especially Resident Evil 4, I just love how like cheesy he is. Like all of his lines is just like comedy gold.
Hasta
I was literally about
He's got a really cool design too.
I was about to say it was going to be a tie between Leon Kennedy and Albert Wesker.
Oh yeah, Wesker's pretty
I'm a
cool.
big fan of
Albert
Wesker's,
Wesker.
like just yeah. Him
In 7 minutes.
Him and his alligator skin trench coat, or whatever that is. Yeah, I like those characters. Like I played through Resident Evil 4 probably 10 times.
Wow. Yeah, I played through it a lot too.
It's definitely one of my favorite games, but and it's just setting up the stage for Wesker being, I guess, the confrontation in Resident Evil 5 I really liked. Even though it's sort of like a departure from the series a little bit, I just kind of like that sort of closure and how he was as a villain.
I don't need anyone else. I have Ouroboros.
This one's kind of from Nintendo, but what is your favorite non-Nintendo console and game?
All right.
Are you familiar with PlayStation?
Are you asking? Asking his alter ego.
Yeah.
You gotta turn around and move your hair flip the other way.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. So I assume by that, do you mean from the big three, from Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, or do you mean just in general?
Either.
Okay, because I feel like it's kind of a cop-out, but my first answer would be the Dreamcast. Sega Dreamcast is a solid platform. But I know that a lot of people ask me, like, what do you like other than Nintendo? They mean Xbox or PlayStation. For the current generation, I feel like I've gotten the most use out of my PlayStation 4 or not from the big three, but from Xbox One and PS4. The previous generation, I preferred my 360 to PS3. I didn't play a lot with PS3. But as far as a favorite game, I really like the, I think it's Quantic Dream. Is that the studio that does the, so like Beyond Two Souls was one that I really enjoyed on PS3. Those big, like, cinematic story games. So I'm looking forward to that, what is it, Detroit, the new game they come out with.
There's 700 different endings, apparently.
Wow.
I know, that's what I was like, what?
Can you do the thing with PewDiePie's chair?
What?
Not really. It's this far back. That's as far back as it goes.
Hashtag not sponsored.
By who? PewDiePie or Tracer?
Can you do this?
Either.
How do y'all avoid getting burned out of making videos?
That's a good question. So I've been doing YouTube for 5-6 years, pretty much no breaks outside of a few days here and there. And for me, the simplest way to not get burned out is to just keep making different types of things. So if I'm getting tired of making a certain type of series, I'll slow it down. So as an example, I used to make lots and lots of top 10s. I make them once a week. Now I'm making them like, maybe once a month if that. So that's at least how I avoid getting burned out.
A lot of us are workaholics, and I think that's exactly what it is. Like when I get tired of like, oh man, I've made 7 everything wrong with today. I'm just gonna draw for a while, and then I'm like, I've like drawn all week. I'm just gonna go back to everything wrong with, because that's just the best way to not get burned out.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, I have a similar answer, but I found that, like, I often feel like if I get burnt out, I'll feel like I need a break. But even if I go take a 1 or 2 week break, it still feels like a grind when I get back, and it's because of the content you choose to make. So, like recently, a couple weeks back, I made a video about musical connections between Mario and Zelda, and that was something that was stuck in my mind that I knew was a little different than my normal content, but it was something I was really excited to get out. So I think making something that you're really passionate about at a regular pace is something that's important to keeping you in the right mindset.
Yeah, I think doing a variety of things helps too, because you focus on the same thing day in and day out, no matter how exciting it is initially, it eventually fades. So like by constantly changing what you're doing, like I have the main channel and I have the second channel where I get to do just more so playing games. But I'm also a writer, so I take breaks. And took this last year I spent all my Sundays writing a book, and I think that helped break me away from the YouTube stuff a little bit, and just write, which is kind of, I don't know, kind of liberating, kind of takes you away from the constant cycle of social media, even though the book was about YouTube. But, I think injecting yourself to like a variety of things so that you don't get burned out on one particular thing is very important. Also, I would say disconnect. Like, we get so saturated in online media, like it's important to get away from it. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just turn off my phone, shut my laptop, and just go on a walk. That way I don't have any interruptions, and I can just be me, and that really typically puts me back in the mood where I'm like, by the time I get back, I'm excited to get back into creating.
If you can make one change to Nintendo, Microsoft, and /4 Sony, what would it be?
That's a good question. Good question. Yeah.
I think right now we were talking about it because Nintendo is really buddy-buddy with Microsoft right now because of Minecraft.
You see their Twitter back and forth?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
They're having cross-platforms with a lot of games, so I think Sony needs to step up and get in on that as well. It's just hurting their business, honestly, if they don't do that.
Yeah, it's like Rocket League, Fortnite, and I want to say there's like 2 other titles that are
I think so,
cross-platform on Switch and Xbox, but Sony's off in the corner doing their own thing.
Let's see, so I don't really have an answer for Microsoft because I'm not too familiar with their games. For Sony, I think it'd be really cool if they actually make a brand new Crash game, just seeing how well the Crash trilogy remake did. For Nintendo, I don't know, maybe bring back F-Zero. I think that'd be kind of cool. It's been a long time since we've seen one of those. Yes!
Well, you're not satisfied with the Mario Kart 8 track?
No. It's funny how they keep teasing it. There was 2 F-Zero tracks in Mario Kart 8. There was the Amiibo Captain Falcon costume, and you could drive in the Blue Falcon, but still nothing with F-Zero.
I think I would just like to see more openness between the platforms. So many people, I mean, I understand like copywriting and keeping your trademark and stuff to yourself, but I feel like there's so much to gain. It's like no different than us collaborating on YouTube. Like if these bigger companies collaborate, like I would love, like what's happening with what's the game right now that has Star Fox in it? Starlink. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably wouldn't have tried Starlink otherwise. Not that there's anything wrong with Starlink. I'm not into that type of game, but because Star Fox is in it, I'll give it a whirl. So I think like if they were more open to just letting other characters be in things, and I think with Smash Brothers is a great, Smash 4 and things that happened with that was amazing. But I'm hoping we can do more of that happens in the future.
I think on the flip side, I'd like them to reach out to other companies more in that regard, because like I think it was at least 5 years ago that Larry Herb or somebody else high up in Microsoft said, "Yeah, we'd be happy to have Banjo and Kazooie in Smash 4," and that just nothing came of it. Despite Microsoft will say like, "Yeah, let's talk." And so I feel like Nintendo, and this kind of extends to them not necessarily paying as much attention as they should to the fan base, I think. So they kind of develop games in a bubble and don't pay a lot of attention to the reception to what they put out. They just kind of like make what they want to make, which I mean that's respectable in a lot of ways. But
yeah, I guess going off of that, with Nintendo, it would be nice if they would lighten up with their online content policies, because a lot of people that want to make Nintendo content, but most people get copyright claimed. So,
but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
Because we love it.
Some people don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But most people do.
You guys have inspired me to make my own channel and stream, but I have no clue what to do, where to start, or when to do it.
Now for $20.
Sorry, I didn't want to that's my holy noises.
I want it to be like retro games. I have no clue what to do.
I think the first thing, my advice would be, because like when I started creating on YouTube, I obviously had the same issues, and I had no one I could
everyone
ask.
does.
You have no one you can ask for help or questions on how to do any of this stuff. That's really what led me to writing this, because like when I finally found success on YouTube, I figured like, people were asking the same questions I had. So I would say, if you don't know where to start, primarily, make a list of all the things you're passionate about. So like retro games would be one. And think about, I always tell people like, if YouTube worked out for you, it was 2 years from now, would that passion be something that you would grow to hate, or would it be something that you would still like? And it might be hard to make that, I guess, assume what's going to happen, but like just know that at some point when you're creating, it does like there's an element of work to it. It's not just all just playing games. So I would say keep that in mind, but definitely pick a passion that you can just pour your heart into. And then when you're creating your content, I would say try to develop a show or something. Like so you have all these other creators you watch, like make a list of the things you like about them. And then think about like, if I was making my own retro game show, what could I do that's different? What could I do that would separate me from others who are doing the same thing? And you're not going to get it right off the bat, but by trying different things, you'll eventually stumble upon something, a formula that works for you. But definitely pull inspiration from others and see what you can come up with.
I was just going to say the important thing is to just get started Even if you think your videos are bad, just keep making them, because over time your videos are just naturally going to get better with more and more practice. I think that's the biggest thing. I've had a couple friends that try to start YouTube channels, and they get so discouraged by, like, you know, mean comments or something, or just they're lazy in making videos. But if you really do want to make it, you just have to keep pushing for it.
Playing off of what Swanky Box said, I think one of if I can give one piece of advice to someone starting on YouTube, like my rule of thumb is to look at the people that you are inspired by, like find your list of inspirations on YouTube and see what videos you would like to see from them that they haven't made already, and then you fill that gap.
Yeah.
So, like when I first started, I mentioned Metal Jesus Rocks was one of the channels that I was looking up to, and I think one of the first things I made, one of my first videos was like how to collect games on a budget. And I was like, I had to learn these things through years of game collecting, and nobody else that I had seen had covered like how can you do this with limited funds to try to build up a game collection, like you're going through college, or you know, if that's your situation. So that was something that I filled that gap, and that's how I started off, and that's how I kept going with the first 10 or 15 videos I did. I looked at those channels that I watched all the time, and I made the videos that I wanted to watch. So.
I had nothing to add to that. I was gonna say what you said. So.
What's the bad thing you say about your favorite game?
Oh, nice. I like flipped questions.
Okay. Mario 64 is very ugly.
And clunky.
And clunky. Well,
I would say the thing I hate about Mario 64 the most is when you're like, if this is like something I'm trying to do, and Mario's like right here, he cannot actually directly walk to it. Like, the controls are, you pretty much have to walk around it. And I don't know if that makes sense, but like you can't directly go to something if you're in close proximity to it. Mario tends to walk sort of around it instead of like taking a direct action. I have the issues.
It's a very small nitpick.
It is more, but it comes up so often, especially when we're all fighting over a box, and you can't pick up the box because of the controls. It's easier to jump and reset Mario's position than it is to just hang a left and grab the box.
My go-to answer for my favorite game for many years has been Super Mario Galaxy. More recently, I'm thinking I might be in the transition of choosing Super Paper Mario as my favorite game, which is kind of, it might be an odd choice for some of you, but so if I have to choose something bad about Super Paper Mario, I can't do it. There's nothing bad about that game. But Super Mario Galaxy.
Not true. The pixels are very unmemorable.
We'll have a beef later. It's fine. But
mine just rolled the wake up for the 6th time today.
For Super Mario Galaxy, I can acknowledge that it's pretty linear compared to other Mario games. And there was something else that I was going to say. Oh, I feel like a lot of the galaxies are not as memorable as a lot of Mario games. Like it's harder to kind of recollect and remember the experiences that you had. I feel like they're all top-notch levels and they're all really fun to play. But it is kind of hard to look back on it. There's not quite as many like wow moments, I guess.
I don't know what my favorite game is because it's always changing, but I guess just off the top of my head with Mania, there aren't enough original stages. Like there are so many reused stages, and I hope that if they make a sequel, when they make a sequel, that it's, if not purely, then mostly comprised of original stages.
So, 2 things. First, just an observation. I'm looking at this panel, and it's like neat hair, messy hair, neat hair, messy hair.
Yeah.
And
that's our style.
Real question, like what was like the worst video you think you put out?
Ooh.
Video. Why don't you go first, Nintendo? Every time a question's asked, you're just like...
Well, I'm looking down from left to right. Come on.
That's how it starts.
You have to go first now.
Okay. I don't know what I would say is my worst video. I mean, honestly, I feel like you were talking about that, like you constantly improve on YouTube. I feel like if I look at anything like 4 months or older, I don't want to watch it on my channel because I'm like, ugh. Like I've improved just that much, even just in a few months. I feel like that. Anytime like I look more than 3 or 4 months back, I'm like, gosh, I want to put this on unlisted, but people would yell at me. But, I do think, I guess every time I upload a video, inevitably there's something that comes up in the comments that I didn't think about that I could have covered that a lot of people ask about. Like, they're like,
did you know that there's Call of Duty in?
I did.
On the DS.
On the DS, yeah. One example is on like the first video that I did that really kind of blew up was my Switch VR experiment where I took the Switch. It had just come out, and basically there was a patent that was leaked for a Nintendo Switch VR headset, and I realized that I had like a generic tablet VR headset that I had used for development a couple of years back that I could use with my Switch, and just that same week, modders had found a way to bypass the Switch's like lock on the web browser so you could run custom footage on the Switch. So I went in the Citra 3DS emulator and captured 720p footage of Ocarina of Time 3D, put it side by side on YouTube, loaded it on my Switch, put it in the headset, and basically had like an experiment to see how the Switch could perform as a VR headset. Basically just trying to see how the 720p resolution of the screen would affect the overall experience. But I guess the way that I presented it in that video made it seem like I was kind of distancing myself from my opinions, I guess. So I was saying, like, you might notice that there is some screen door effect on this, you know, instead of saying, like, I noticed that this was the case when I tested it out. So, like, a good solid 40% of the comments on that video are like, but what did you think about it? And I was like, I felt like, oh yeah, this entire video was my opinions about it. But I kind of presented it in a way that made it seem like I was saying, one might notice this is the case. So if I could go back and redo that, I would have changed the tone, I guess, and maybe expanded more on my own opinions about it. So yeah, although that's like my best performing video to date, I think that it needed a lot of work.
I mean, for me, it's like, it more so boils down to if I'm doing a theory video and then someone points out something I completely missed. Yeah. I mean, things happen where like you could change the direction of the theory. I can't think of any examples. It doesn't happen that often because I feel like I'm pretty thorough, but there are some times where someone has introduced an element that changes, and I may make a follow-up video because of it.
No, I have lots of things that I think are really bad. I need a minute to think, so.
Now, Nathaniel Bandit doesn't have any bad videos.
Most of them are bad.
No, I feel the same way in that there are so many videos that I'm just like, oh, man, I wish I hadn't made that, or like I would have done this differently. But in terms of one that like I actively dislike, I can't really think of anything. I guess my first video, which was like, I shot I feel like most of us have done this at some point in time. We shot like our TV with a camera, and it's just the footage is awful, and like there's no. I didn't have a microphone, so it's just text on the screen, and it was just bad.
I guess probably when I first started doing top 10s, they were really poorly done. Like the audio was really bad. Just like the way I was speaking wasn't very clear all the time. I guess I would say one of like first or second top 10. Yeah, I think we're actually pretty much out of time.
I mean, we have,
we're like right at 11:20.
So I would say a couple of things before we depart. I have a panel tomorrow at 1:30 about pursuing a career path on YouTube. So if anyone's interested in giving YouTube a whirl, I know you had mentioned being interested in retro games, stop on by. Also, if you guys want to talk about YouTube, really about anything, I've worked with a lot of different channels, a lot of different companies in terms of optimizing for YouTube and just the idea of creating something from nothing. You stop on by. I also have copies of my book, which is that exact thing, a complete guide to that at the Screenwave booth, which I'll be afterwards. My panel is tomorrow at 1:30. Char,
my panel is at 3:30, I believe. It's about engaging live stream audiences. I wouldn't consider myself a full-time streamer or anything, but we definitely have fun at my streams. I'm going to have my co-hosts there as well, my very good friends. We'll just be hanging out, pretty much kind of what we're doing here as well. We'll talk about it a little bit. We'll have a Q&A session afterwards, and you guys are welcome to join.